Do this.
Episode 1, part 2, technically.
We could do it like
Still on
that,
episode
yeah,
1.
Sure. Continue with this itchy ass beard.
We got positivity and pasta coming at you live. Coming in strong. So, yeah, man. How was your weekend, bro? You were up in Jersey.
Dude, it's a great weekend.
Yeah?
Excuse me. Yeah, man. Sister turned 21.
Hype.
Shout out to little sis,
Hype.
Natalie. Yeah, it was great, man. I will rephrase your question. I'll tell you what the highlight of my week was.
Ooh.
We got to start with the highlights.
I love it.
The highlight was definitely spending time with the family, man.
Good.
Got to see mom, pop. We all went out as a family to the bars. Try to get my sister drunk, get a little tipsy. They all got pretty nice. I was the only one, I had like a beer.
That's fair.
I'm focusing on getting the macros in,
Yeah, you got
the pasta.
you got to track the beer calories.
Exactly, man. The beer just bloats me, man. It's that big old belly. I got the power belly going on, but the beer just takes the power away.
That's fair.
It's soft. We don't need that happening. How's the pasta?
Pasta's delicious. Eddie's a great chef.
Oh yeah.
Ladies, guys, whatever you're into.
Yeah, because it's all about the sauce.
It is.
Sauce is the boss.
Shout out Ryo's.
Probably.
We might be able to get a sponsor out of this. Let's hold the can in the shot.
It's in the fridge, bro. Get in the bottom shelf. Next to the
Yeah.
beers.
We might be able to get a sponsor out of
Yeah,
this.
they gotta see this because this is something. Shout out to my boy Marino again because this guy put me on, and this stuff is just major key.
If we get a sponsor out of it, we do. It is what it is.
Wow, that sauce is too good. Hell yeah.
So yeah, brother. So good weekend.
Yeah, man. It was nice, bro. What was the highlight of yours?
So you got me thinking. We're stemming the brainwaves a little bit. So I'm gonna say probably two things. One would just be the lesser of the two, but still very important, is just getting all this, making moves with Powerful One.
Okay.
Am
I good for you?
We're getting some. Yeah, it should be good. We're getting some apparel. We're getting some apparel started. So soon, guys, keep on the lookout. Shirts, merch, all types of merch, and that sort of thing. We'll let that be a surprise. So yeah, just making moves on that. Getting a studio set up. So next time you guys see us, we may be in a studio set up.
That's right. Where are we right now?
We are at Eddie's crib.
Yeah,
It's
man.
a dope house.
Welcome to the crib.
He's got his thinking chair where he does all of his mindfulness and
That's
thinking.
right. Got the unicorn on it right
Yeah.
now, keeping it warm.
What's the unicorn's name again?
Canela.
Canela.
Yeah, man.
You gotta say it with the accent.
You gotta say the
Canela.
accent, man. She gets now. You know.
So yeah, we'll be in a studio. It's gonna be a sweet setup next time, probably. And yeah, so I would say just making moves on Powerful One. The second highlight is gonna be, you're gonna think this is cool. So this was on Friday, so we'll count it the weekend. So on Friday, I was making just some of my work calls, and I called one of my old students who I hadn't seen in a while. He was my favorite student, little kid Elliot, little Elliot. He was like 5 years old, and he was like my favorite student. He actually came to one of my fights and brought a sign that said "Go Coach Tommy." He was literally like my favorite student. Like,
how old is he?
You hate to pick favorites. He was like, I think he was like 5 or 6.
No way.
Yeah, dude, and he was man, it was incredible. And so I hadn't seen him in forever. So basically, after one of my fights, I took like a little hiatus from the gym, from the school. And long story short, when I came back, he wasn't there. So I called his mom. And I was like, hey, I just wanted to check, see how Elliot was doing, see how school's going this year and whatnot. And she was like, yeah, I really appreciate you calling. Like, he actually quit because you weren't coaching anymore. And I was like, damn, like that was like crazy to hear. And then I was like, man, well, we'd love to have you guys back. And she's like, we'll be there Monday. And I was like, awesome. So then I'm all excited to get my favorite student back today during class, which will be exciting. Yeah. And then 2 hours later, I get a call. Yeah. I was like, hey, this is Tommy. He goes, hey, Tommy, this is Elliot. No. He literally called me, my little like 6-year-old student. So dude, that just like made my
cool, man.
My world. Because it's just like, I don't know, teaching's my favorite thing, teaching the students.
Yeah.
And just like the power of like, the little kid, man, like I bailed on him. I wasn't teaching classes anymore, and that had a big impact on him. It affected him. Yeah. And so it was just cool basically being able to reconnect with him. So I'll see him tonight. So I would say that's probably my highlight, man.
That's good. That's solid highlight, man.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit, how did everything go? How has your practice been going? Tell me a little bit about Jersey and just how everything went with your practices and whatnot. Were you able to keep a routine up there?
So not too much with a routine. I mean, I brought my books to read, but it was just pretty hectic, trying to squeeze in a lot of things at once, a lot of activities, seeing family, whatnot. I don't go there too often. But Jersey was a good test to my principles and just to me overall, right? Like my one of my values is patience, right? I'm trying to like practice patience, and it can be difficult when I get to Jersey just because at least from where I'm at in New Jersey, and for those that are also from New Jersey, I'm like right off of exit 14, so like I'm Jersey City. It's super congested, man, and they're like making all these high-rise apartment buildings with no parking. So you're adding people to a little tiny piece of land with no parking, so that adds to frustration, right? The second like I get past like mid Jersey towards the north, like you see the attitude change. They're driving a little faster, the horns are honking, like middle fingers out the window. I'm like, God, people are so angry, you know. I'm just happy. I'm in a good mood, you know. I left Maryland, had a good morning, had coffee that morning, had a good breakfast, hitting the road, good time, feeling great, right? I'm in the best mood. Maryland gets me happy, man. All the trees, yeah. So I want to kill the vibe. So, and also with the whole mission statement and like really looking at what my values are, like kind of just like trying to live them, you know, being a principle-centered guy. And so I get to New Jersey, I park, didn't let anybody kill my vibe with the aggression, right? So I get there, I'm at my parents' place, see my sister, my parents are working. And so I'm sitting down, I'm warming up, I did a little meal prep because I usually the issue when I get there is eating. I'm always eating.
Traveling and eating is impossible.
Right, I don't want to eat out too much, and like I gotta constantly, you know, get the calories in, right? Because of all the powerlifting and whatnot. So I had a whole cooler full of food, and so this goes on with being like opportunity minded versus problem minded. Before I would see problems, so I'm like, oh my God, if I go to Jersey, I'm not gonna be able to eat because like you know my parents, you know, they don't have enough food for me. That's problem minded, right? I took the opportunity to just cook my own food, and I had a solution to my problem. So there's no more. I hate when this face got scared. I feel like it's gonna cut the video.
It's okay. We're going on we got the GoPro going too. Okay. So that's gonna be the main one. So we're good.
So back to just being like more like, you know, opportunity solution based, right? So I'm like, there's no problem. Non-issue. Made my own food. So I'm already happy, right? I mitigated what used to be a problem.
Yeah.
Killed it. So I wanted from eating, and then like I just felt like looking out the window. Right? I look out the window, the parking authority people were there, right? Street cleaners were at 3. It's 2:59, like right on the dot. And there she's right there typing on the little machine. I scream out the window like, "Hey, you want me to move my car?" Ignores me. Typical Jersey arrogance, right? It's like initially I was about to get upset just for being ignored, but then I'm like, you know what? This person's clearly having a bad day because their job. The essence of your job, you're public enemy number 1. Nobody likes you. So I get why you're just angry. So I'm like, you know what? Let me not go crazy. So I put on some shorts and I'm like just laying down in my underwear eating pasta. Pasta, my bad. And I run out, gotta move my car. Crisis averted. Park again. We went out that night, whatever. Long story short, the next day, Dad's making breakfast and on the couch eating. The parking authority again, because we're in a zoned area. I don't have a zone sticker. I'm not a resident, so it's 2-hour parking only. And they're typing in the little machine. I'm
trying to test this, man.
I'm like, oh, no issue, non-issue here. I'm like, I will move my car. I just moved the car, you know. And it's funny, like moments like that, people just literally get angry. It's like, what the hell? I hate you. Get a better job. Like, dude, that's their job, man. Just move the car. That's it. You know what I mean? So it's just funny how those things kept like just compiling. I'm like, I feel like Jersey's testing me right now.
Man.
I'm not failing, man.
Yeah. It's impressive, dude, to see seeing how far you've came by that is cool. Just seeing your practice be put into action is pretty awesome.
Dude, yeah. And just, I was telling your mom earlier, went to your house. You know, by day 3 I broke, people. I lost it. I went crazy.
Eddie Nuñez is not perfect.
I'm not perfect. Her activity went out the window, and I became the most reactive individual you can imagine. Just cursing, screaming, pissed off. It took 3 days before. It would take maybe like 30 minutes. But now, so with progress, right? And I say I broke because I had the weight of like, what's the population size of Jersey City? It's probably like 200,000 people. They're all angry. Like, that's just that you get that Jersey attitude. Where like, oh, everybody from Jersey is just like full of it and they're angry. I love my Jersey. Shout out to Jersey. Like, I always be a Jersey boy, right? But I get the outsiders look at us like we're just animals, loud, you know, straightforward, angry. And I see it now because one, you have a bunch of people like stuff like sardines in the can in a little corner of like Jersey City, and I'm like, dude, everybody's just mad because they're not living their best life. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people just going with emotions, and I'm not gonna blanket to say everybody is, but those that I have spoken to, right? So my sample size isn't huge, but I talk to people, and it's like I feel bad, man. they kind of just say things like, yeah, you know, I gotta go to school, you know, I'm trying to do this, do that. I'm like, when you ask them, like, why do you have to go to school? You know how I feel about hat, right? You don't have to do anything. Why do you have to go to school? Just like, oh, you know, like, now my mom or my dad, my parents say I gotta do this, I have to do that. I'm like, you don't have to do anything. Do you want to? You know, and it kind of like goes along with like your message, a powerful one, right? Like, just do what makes you happy.
Right.
You know, break out of that like conformity to what society tells you to be. That's a good example. Like, look, people aren't happy when they try to live another life to satisfy someone else. And you can like attest to that, man. And it's frustrating to watch, and I try to help and empower people, saying, man, you don't have to go to school if you don't want to, right? Man. Cool, it's a good thing, sure, if you're into it, but you don't have to, man. You're a good example of that. You don't have to go to school,
right?
You know, but I don't want to get off on a tangent. I'm just kind of saying that just in general, like, people are angry that so those that are wondering why Jerseyans like walk around with like a stick up the butt, that's because they're just angry that they're not living their best life. They fall into this like what society says you need to be. You don't need to be anything. You do whatever you want to be. You be happy. You know, like that's really what the problem is. So like my I had the weight on my shoulders of the population of Jersey City, and it broke me because everybody was angry and I'm the only one happy. Look, they're looking at me like I'm nuts.
Yeah.
They're always smiling. They're always happy and like, dude, somebody just flicked you off, and I'm like, good day, you know, like whatever. Just, yeah, I'm like, I look crazy, but I don't care, man. I was the happier one at the end of the day.
So what ultimately broke you? I know you mentioned you did good for a while. So what was it? What was the situation that ultimately got you a little over the top, a little angry?
I don't want to mention any names. I love this person very much, but this individual is very problem-minded, right? They see problems, no solutions. So like, I had a little tuffle with this individual on an air mattress. I'm like, keep the air mattress filled. I might come home tonight. I might sleep over somewhere else. I don't know my sleeping arrangement. I don't live there, so like, I'll sleep with friends. I'll sleep at my parents' place. I'm like I'm a nomad, man. I'm just traveling around, right? Just wandering, living life, and or I'll do a hotel, Airbnb. I don't know. Either way, I was like, leave the air mattress pumped, and then. So the reply is, oh, where am I going to put the air mattress if you don't come here? I'm like, under the bed, or maybe behind the couch in the living room. Like, why do you keep seeing problems, you know? So like, it was that attitude of just everything being a problem. It brought the beast out of me, because this is day 3 already where I'm dealing with people that just see problems.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell? So I blew up. And I'm just like, you're nuts. You're crazy. Like, what's your problem? You see problems to everything. I can't deal with you. And I'm like, now I'm being reactive, and I'm like saying things I don't really mean, like trying to like anger the person back because they're making me angry. It was silly, man. I look at it in hindsight. I'm like, man, this kind of sucks. I wish I didn't do that. But you know, it's just something that I won't repeat. You know, just you live from your mistakes. You know, we're not perfect.
And that's something that I think is important. Just the idea of feeling like we can't get angry with anything.
Right.
So feeling like anger is this bad inherent thing, and that it can't happen, and we need to try to eliminate getting angry. Anger is an emotion, so we're gonna feel it. So you getting angry is totally fine. I think the difference with you and the way you handle anger and most people handle their anger is whether you're letting it immobilize you or mobilize you. So if you're using that anger to be productive, to better yourself, being an empowered person, and being able to mobilize that anger instead of just basically finding a problem, you know, having the anger and then having it be an issue.
Dude, that's key, man. I love that you said that, because it's something that I struggle with, where I try to avoid being angry. Right. You know, and it's because of the fear of it immobilizing me, right?
Exactly.
And I fear that, and it's like I should just let that. I should empower myself to like not get them. I can make the choice here, right? So I think you're absolutely 100% true on that, man. Like, definitely, just make moves, man. Don't let it immobilize you. Use that to motivate you and push change, right? Like, I got angry at this individual, and like I wasn't immobilized, but like, you know, I used that anger. I yelled at the press. I was reactive, but if looking back at it, I could have used that anger to like trigger something else, like to kind of just fuel me to be more positive and to try to like help her out.
Exactly. You know? Exactly. Yes, I think that's one thing. Using the anger. So whether like, you know, like whether the homeless population bothers you, you're upset that so many people are homeless. Yeah. You know, volunteer your time at a homeless shelter. Use that anger in a constructive, mobilizing way. So whatever it is, you know, that was just one example, but being able to use it in your example or anybody's example, just finding ways that you can change that anger into something positive. Essentially, I think is what we'll take from that.
I like that, dude.
Yeah.
Pasta. So good.
Pasta.
Um, let's I wanted to talk about also like we'll keep like mentioning the Jersey trip because this is so much there, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about going out. You know, the clubs, the bars, all that, right? So, I found that my favorite bars to go to now are gay bars.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so I'm a heterosexual male. There's nothing wrong with being gay. There's nothing wrong with being hetero, right? So, but that's just it's important to make this distinction because those that can relate to me, I want people to know going to a gay bar is probably the best thing you can do. It's so much fun, and like my best friend even asked me like why that over, going to I guess lack of a better term, a non-gay bar, right? I feel like bars where it's just most predominantly heterosexual people, we're not ourselves in these this environment, right? So like, you can all imagine when you're out in a bar or even in a club or in a lounge, you have like the dudes that are like posted up just like this. Music's playing, everybody's dancing, but you always have like that one. There's a couple guys that are like literally sitting there.
Right.
That kind of annoys me because like, dude, why you go home? You could do that in your living room. You know what I mean? Like, they're not enjoying themselves. They're just sitting there waiting to get hit on.
Right.
Or staring at every female as an object because they're just, it's just like snap out of it, man. Like,
Right.
they're not enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
So then you have the cliquey girls in the corner, like, ew, get away from me. I don't want the guys near me. Like, then why are you out? That's gonna happen, right? Like, you're gonna have dudes hit on you. So it's just a lot of frustration. Nobody's really being themselves, and you have like everybody on their phones, like snapping, like, oh, I'm out here having a good time. Then they stop talking and they post on their story, put the phone away, and they're just like this. Like, that was all fake. You're not having a good time. Now with the gay bar, everybody is living their best life there. Like, there's no boundary. People are just themselves. They can express who they want to be, whether you're gay, straight, bi, whatever it is. Everyone's happy there. Me as a straight man, I'm happy. I'm sitting down there at the bar having a beer and like, I feel good. I don't have to like, sit back and like, let me look like a cool guy so a girl can approach me and I can get a number. No, dude, I'm sitting with my buddy talking. They had like a little show in the background, watching the show, laughing.
Yeah.
And I see, dudes and the chicks just doing whatever the hell they want, man. Like, and I love that, man. You could just be you there. That's why I prefer now, like, at least for that gay bar. I love it, man. It was really cool. And just the moral of the story, really, me saying this is just be yourself. You know what I mean? It's just better overall, man. You can just feel the vibes are different.
It ties back into the whole purpose of this, the podcast, the brand, everything. Literally, be yourself.
Yeah.
Find something that you enjoy, that you can be yourself in, and I think that's what I struggled with. I don't like going out in any capacity, and I think that's a big reason. Is just that I just see all this this kind of this almost the fakeness of it, and just I just never understood it. I never wanted it to be something when I went out that I had to have alcohol or that I had to have, like the FOMO. I remember, growing up, it seemed like all my friends had like the FOMO. Just never had that for me. So I think that's big, man. It's a big takeaway for that.
You saying that you don't like to go out normally, and I can understand you and relate to you because like people go out typically either pre-game home or you just get drunk there. And it's like you have to understand you're altering your reality when you're drinking alcohol. I'm not anti-alcohol. I got a fridge full of beer. I got a cabinet full of whiskey. I love getting drunk. I love drinking, right? But understand that it changes your reality. So when you're growing up and you're 18, you can't wait to be 21 because you want to, like, you see what's on TV. You see people like, yeah, man, going out's the best thing ever.
Right.
Then you go out. You alter your mind with the alcohol, whatever substances that you're doing. You think you're having fun, and then like you get home the next day, you get the hangover, you're like, oh, that was miserable, man. You look at pictures and you're laughing, enjoying it or whatever, having memories, flashbacks to your friends. It's cool, but then you get to a point, and I've gotten to this point, I'm sure you've gotten to this point where it's like, I'm not really having fun. Like, I don't feel when I'm sober.
Yeah.
And then the thought of going out, I'm like, I'm not in the mood to go out. But then when I start taking shots, I'm in the mood to go out.
Yeah.
You altered your reality, right? So your reality, you really don't want to be out there. So then it's hard for you to ask the question like, why am I not happy? So you go out there with a sober mind, you realize you're not happy because you're not really being yourself, and you're surrounded by people that aren't really happy either. I've made the example with the girls on Snapchat, like putting up stories, and they post it, phone away, and they're kind of just sitting there like this. Like, why are you out? You're out because you think it's the cool thing to do and you want people to see that you're cool, and it's like, that's not cool, man. Like, you, and again, I'm not anti going out, man. Like, I still go out. I went out last weekend, but key here is to go out and be yourself. You know what I mean? Enjoy. Don't sit there and like have to have a drink so you can enjoy yourself. Like, I challenged my best friend and he did it to me too. We both did it together. It's like we went out to the bars sober. We had water the whole night. I had the best time, and so did he. And the week after, the week prior, whatever, I went out again. I drunk, and I still had the same amount of fun. But like the thing is, I try to keep myself the same person, drunk or sober.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't let it really alter my reality. Like I enjoy the numb lip feeling when you're getting drunk. You start laughing. Like I get more talkative and I'm more giggly, right? But I don't necessarily do a 180, and I'm not like an angry tough guy. I'm still the same guy. Probably just gonna laugh a little more.
Yeah. Huh.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I do.
I think for you, what's also important is your environment, right? So when you go out, I think the best thing to do is to go out with people that are like-minded. Like if you're in a situation like when you were younger, right, and your boys were like, oh, let's get drunk and go out, and you were like, can we just go out and really fucking drunk, and they kind of push back on you, like, oh, what's wrong with you? Then you might need to change the crowd,
right?
Because like go out with me,
right?
We don't have to drink, man. We could go out. We can order coffee at a bar, like Cheers back in, I don't know what was like in the 80s. That was a good show, but so the owner would drink coffee, and not have a beer, but so we don't have to do those things. We can, and then if we don't like the vibes, we could just leave. You know what I mean? We can have a beer together. We can have some wine. We don't have to get trashed. We can do whatever we want to do. I just think because you and I see things the same way, we would have a good time. So like, it's your environment, people you surround yourself by, your influences really make the difference.
Right.
You'll have a good time with like-minded foes versus like individuals that are just like in conflict with you, man, because it's gonna add to your stressor, and you're gonna feel obligated to like get yourself drunk so you can be eased up, and then let them just take full control and do what they want.
Right. That makes sense. I think part of it for me is because I realized I like going out and having dinner with some friends. I like going out and having coffee with friends. I like socializing with friends.
Yeah.
Then why wasn't I enjoying going out and getting drunk with my friends? And I think that was a big part of it. Was you had to get drunk if you were going out, if you were with my friends. So when they would say that, so I think that's part of if you're in a situation where you are almost, and you shouldn't be forced to do anything, but if you feel forced to go out and drink, like you said, maybe hang out with different people.
Right.
Maybe use that to do something different. Maybe go out and when they go out to get coffee or go out to get dinner, do that instead. So
yeah, you don't have to do anything. When you feel like you have to do something, it ruins everything.
Yeah.
Because like
definitely.
Why does it ruin everything? Because you lost control. You want to be in control of you. Of your own feelings, of your own emotions, what's going on, you need to take control. You want to take control. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you just said, I'm gonna go with my friends, and I feel like I have to drink. That underline the word "have" again. It never feels good to have to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to want to choose to do things. So if you choose to drink, you're going to be happy because you chose to do that. If you're doing it because you feel like you have to because of peer pressure, you are going to be miserable. You might feel fine at that moment because you're drunk, because I don't know, being drunk is funny, whatever, but then the next day when you wake up and you're hungover and you're looking back like, I didn't want to drink because I didn't want to feel what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
You're suffering the consequences of the things that you didn't want to do, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why it's just really important to, and I like these messages that we're like spitting out right now, because like, it's back to just powerful one, man. Like, take control, man. Have the power.
Yeah, and I think because for me, I've never been one to fall into peer pressure, but I think a lot of people are either probably, if they're listening, maybe they're not into it that much, but they're in that camp of either going out because they feel like they have to from a peer pressure standpoint, or going out from, we'll stick with that point, but I think what happened with me is I ended up not liking going out because I felt like I had to be drinking. So I think being able to either turn around and do it with different people, or being able to, like, it's not that I hate going out. It's that I hate that it's the connotation with drinking. Yeah. So being able to turn that into something else, like going out and not drinking, or going out and going to something else, So I think that's one thing that I'm now more open to that I wasn't is just going out in general.
Yeah.
I was so anti going out for a while because it had the connotation to drink.
Yeah.
Not that I felt like I had to drink because I've never felt like I have to
You
do
didn't fall-
anything.
you didn't
But
fall-
I think that a lot of people listening will probably resonate
Relate
with
to
some of
that,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, I like that, man.
Dude, yeah, we all fall under that, man. Like, see, I struggled a lot with like peer pressure growing up, right? Like, I think you were at a better place in general. You were a little more woke than I was when I was like 18, 20, 21, right? Like you were, you did what you wanted, right? You grew out the mullet, you know?
Right.
I would have never done it because I felt like people made fun of me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, you didn't care, you know? And that's awesome. And like, you know, I definitely felt under peer pressure of having to be, like I wanted to be like real tough, you know? Like, I swear, like, I think I said this in the first podcast, right? I wore like 6X long shirts, weighing 100 pounds, wearing size 40 jeans, weighing 100 pounds, like, I wear size 40 jeans now. I'm 230 pounds.
Right.
Like now, but do you imagine how ridiculous I look?
Right.
And like, I didn't really want to do that. I dressed that way because the people around me were doing it, and I thought that was cool. And then you know, they would make fun of you if you wore a medium. That should be your size. You should be wearing a small if you're 100 pounds. But like, that's, you know, I fell in that peer pressure, man.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I wasn't happy to have my parents to really like drive leadership in me. You know, from a young age, my mom always told me, lead the pack. Don't be a follower. It's so much easier to be a follower because you don't have that fear of being rejected from society because you're following society, quote unquote, right? But when you lead the pack, that's hard because there's a lot of risk there, right? Like you'll be on top of the hill alone. You know, ultimately, if you're taking the strides to be a leader, it's like it's tough, man, that you have that risk where you end up being alone or, you know, rejected from society, or you could be a strong enough leader where you get everyone to follow you into the right direction. You know what I mean? I think you've always had that in you, man. You have leadership in you.
Yeah, that was actually part of what got cut out of last podcast. So we did record some stuff that didn't get recorded in. But yeah, man, that's one thing that. So how do you feel like you got to be that? Was it from your parents pushing you to be able to be a leader?
Yeah, always, and I probably had some of it too. Like, you know, people are born leaders or they're made leaders, right?
Yeah.
You could be both, and you could be born one, just have the innate ability to just lead a pack, or you can just grow the qualities and principles of a leader, right? So I think it's kind of a hybrid approach for me, because as I was growing up, you know, I was really big into like just playing video games, being at home, and hanging out with my parents, and that wasn't really the cool thing to do back then in the early '90s, right? It was like, go outside and like, you know, your parents are weird. You shouldn't be hanging out with them. You know, but no, they were cool. I would wrestle with my dad. You know, '90s wrestling. He was Stone Cold, and I was like the Undertaker, whatever.
Shout out Randy Savage.
Randy Savage, man.
Macho Man.
Freaking Macho Man.
Not a bad impersonation.
So yeah, man. So I kind of feel like I was like a little leader, man. You know, I just I enjoyed things like that, and I have to feel obligated to go out and like hang out with the friends. Right, you know, I still did the little thing like riding bikes around, you know, playing handball and all that stuff. But the difference was I thought it was cool to be with my parents versus my friends. Didn't think it was cool, but I led the pack because I got my friends to come to my house. And they would hang out with my parents, and like, wow, parents can be cool, you know. So I never had that rebellious age where I was like, nah, I hate my parents. I've always loved them, you know. That was always a difference in my group, at least. Like, I don't know if some people can relate to that, but I know for me, like, it wasn't cool to hang out with your parents. Right. I thought it was cool.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I think, you know, now that I think about it, I know we talked about this one time, and from my standpoint, it was pretty different. I remember just doing things that I didn't know if they were cool or not, but I knew that I thought they were cool. And I remember them not being cool, but just kept going with them. And then eventually people started to gravitate toward it. So I feel like at a young age, I remember...
you were a trendsetter.
Well, yeah. So I just, you know, I've been fortunate enough to not have really ever been like a follower, so to speak, to not really care how other people look at what the things I do or who I am. So I've been fortunate in that aspect, but I think a lot of it comes back to just doing me and then seeing how it was perceived, and then just keep doing it, and then eventually people would kind of come on, and then all of a sudden be the cool. I remember starting Webkins at school, man. And at Webkins, you remember Webkins, dude? The little stuffed animals? You're probably too old for that.
Yeah, I don't remember what.
It was these little stuffed animals that you could play online. Everyone will know what I'm talking about with Webkins, except for you, probably.
No, man.
Yeah, dude, it was these stuffed animals that you have and you could play online. And I remember, because like stuffed animals weren't cool, but I was like, no, like Webkins are cool. And then eventually everybody started having Webkins.
No, wait, it was like Gigapets, man. You remember Gigapets?
No.
Yeah. Come on, man. It's a tiny little-
God. So yeah, just stuff like that I would do, or I'd wear like mismatched socks in lacrosse, and then all of a sudden like a year later, I'd see somebody else doing it. Or whether it was like with the mullet, it was stuff that I didn't necessarily know wasn't cool, which it totally wasn't, but it ended up being cool. It's just like, do you, and if that's cool to you, that's cool. And guess what? It's probably gonna end up being cool to somebody else down the line.
It's so
I think just finding your identity and being a leader, man.
Yeah.
Don't be a follower, and that goes back to just what we were saying about going out to the bars and stuff.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you and so with good leadership also comes like followership, right? So if you're gonna be a follower, follow the right leader, right? And then people are questioning then what's right, what's wrong, right? Who are the right leaders, right? Like those that preach the principles of being your best self. Like making yourself not having to fall under these like standards of society and like so leadership, like I think it oscillates between followership. It's back and forth. Like so, like when I'm with my best friend, like he'll lead the pack sometimes. Like we're going out, like he's starting off the vibes. Like I'm just following his flow, right? Or it'll oscillate between us. So I become the leader. I'm like, no, man, we're gonna do this, and he'll follow my way. He's like, yeah, I'm down with that, So it definitely those that are probably thinking back, sitting down, listening to this, like followership is also part of leadership. Because you got those that study leadership. So did I. So I had to mention that because I know someone here is going to go ahead and say like, no, Tommy, that's not true. You can be a follower too. Yeah, sure, but follow the right leader. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So for people listening who feel like they're stuck, kind of like you were saying about, and this touches with the leadership, but feel like they're stuck. It seems like when you were talking about Jersey, a lot of those people are just stuck in like the bubble of Jersey and feel like they have to do something. And if they are just kind of following, whether it's indirectly following just because they're doing what everybody else says that they're supposed to be doing, how do you break out of that if you're so isolated, in your opinion?
It's tough. So it's a hard question to answer because everyone has a different path, right? How to do this,
right?
But with that question, I would turn that around for other people who are listening to empower themselves to help those that are isolated to pull them out. So like these ideas, these principles that we've been talking about the last podcast, this podcast, 7 Habits, all of that. Like I didn't invent any of these things. You know what I mean? Like I'm no expert. Like I agree with these principles and these philosophies, and I think it has made me happier and live a more effective lifestyle, right? But that was kind of put into my purview by my best friend. He put this book in front of me and like he pulled me out of my isolation. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have a path. I thought what I was doing was the thing to do, and I'm like, I guess I'm happy.
Right.
But I didn't really know. You know what I mean? So my buddy
kind
of pulled me out of isolation. So to answer your question, this is my opinion. What I think is one possibility versus many possibilities is to pull people out of isolation. So those that are listening, think back. If you feel empowered enough to like you start reading these books and like making yourself a better person, go back to your community, go back to other places and like help spread the word, help people out. You know what I mean? Because there are those that are stuck and don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They just need a little guidance. And like my high school, we didn't have any of that. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Like guidance counselors were not guidance counselors. They didn't guide anything. They didn't guide or counsel. So their title of guidance counselors is complete bull. Like there was, I don't even know what to title them. They were just floating bodies collecting a paycheck. They didn't care, and that's why a lot of people that graduated my high school, they're still doing the same things. They're just stuck in isolation, thinking they just get trashed every weekend. Again, it's not a bad thing if you have your stuff together, right? But they don't have anything together,
right?
So they're stressing out. They're working like a job they don't really want to work, which adds to frustration and anger. You ask them, are you happy doing this? And like, no. I'm like, well, then change it. But they don't feel empowered enough to change their direction because they don't have guidance. And it stems to like, high school, at least for me, like we didn't have anybody. And, when I went to college, I kind of got a little more, what's the word? Woke, right? Quote unquote woke. Shout out to wokeness. But like I was able to be more aware of things and situations. And I picked up a book I actually read. You know, like in high school I didn't read a book.
No, me neither.
Never read a book. I didn't read a book until like even in college I didn't really read. I kind of spark note everything. So I can write a paper on it. You know what I mean? Like I cruised undergrad. Undergrad was party central. You know, and then it was really when I hit my graduate level courses. Like you have no. There's really not a lot of choice here. Like if you choose to take your master's, with that choice comes you're reading a book. You know what I mean? So you defaulted to that choice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But prior to even that, like I started picking up books, and I thought it was a cool thing to do because again, with the peer pressure, right? You know, if you sit down reading a book outside, people look at you like this guy, who are you? You know what I mean? All right, but now I do it, and people are like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I was getting at before. It's like, you know, kind of even if you don't think it's cool. Do it.
Do it, man.
People might eventually think it's gonna be cool.
It is.
Now reading is pretty freaking cool.
It is 100%. So when my little thing can share with the unicorns that Canela, man, she says, get out the way, girl. But I'll sit there, kick my feet up, have some tea, drinking coffee, and I got the classical playing, man. And you know, I don't post it anywhere. I don't really have any social media. You know, I really keep it to myself. But when I tell people, if I get a text, I'm like, yeah, I'm reading. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. You know, like. This is what I do. I'm not doing it for you. You know, and then people see that and they're just kind of like, that's kind of cool. I'm going to try that out. I just do it. You know, I might as well get a damn Instagram so I can start spreading the word for people, man. It's just
spread the positivity.
Be yourself.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
So, real quick.
Yeah.
So, talk about your high school a little bit and some of the things that you experienced in high school that kind of led you to where you're at now, like some of those hardships. I know you mentioned, like, you've mentioned to me before, kind of how you were brought up was a little bit like rougher, I'm sure, than most people listening. Mm-hmm. So how did you use those hardships, I guess, to be able to be positive, and how hard was it to not get wrapped up in like the bubble of what your high school was and just get stuck?
So my bubble in high school was the gang life, right? Like all that cliques, street cliques, projects. Like it was a little rough. You know, I grew up. You know, I was robbed, mugged a few times. Started at like age 13, but I was also like, I looked for it, man. I was a target. You know, I was walking around it. So I'm bald now, but I've had a ponytail at one point.
Yo, hold on. If I can be tech savvy enough to put up the picture of Eddie with the ponytail, I screenshotted it.
I had to split and everything, man. Just tied back.
I'll put a funny picture of Eddie up on the screen for YouTube watchers.
So I had the ponytail, wearing the long shirts. You can tell in my face I wasn't about that lifestyle, right? But I was trying to be something I'm not. So I was an easy target. So I think it started at 13. I got my first mugging. You know what I mean? Throwing up on a gate, like 10 dudes against me and my two friends. You know what I mean? Like just like yoking us up, choking us, having like police patting us down. I'm like, what the hell? And I went home to my mom. She was like, well, what happens when you go out late at night? You know, you want that life? Go try it again. I'm like, I'm not trying that again. You know. So I started to learn. And then when I went to high school, the high school was just rough, man. It was not like you would think. So for those of you that are like movie fans, if you've seen Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman, like my school was a lot like that. You know, not as Hollywood with, you know, they overdid some things, but. You know, there was definitely, you know, metal detectors. And it's funny, I don't really say those things because I think that's the norm, right? I think all high schools have that.
Exactly. You only know your own reality.
Right.
So.
And so I told you, and you looked at me like, you got your metal detector?
Right.
Dude, we got pat down by security guards with wands, you know what I mean? To make sure we had no weapons. And, like, there was a police precinct in there. Like, they would have 2 cops on duty at all times. You know? And it's just, that was my reality. That was my norm. I thought this is all cool. Then I go to other schools, like over here in Severna Park, you pass by and just like,
forget about it.
Where the metal detectors? You know? These kids got guns. It's like, no, that was in where was that? So
yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, so a lot of hardship, man. Seeing that environment, watching people get robbed in bathrooms, seeing people get stabbed, being in the middle of like shootouts. I'm not a runner, but back then I was. I was not trying to get hit with a stray bullet.
Yeah, man.
It's a lot of that did definitely make me a stronger person, right? Like at the time. Of course it didn't, right? Hindsight's 2020. I didn't see the positives in all of this, right? I just saw the negatives. So I hated like everybody from the inner city. I'm like, I hate these people, man. Like all you want to do is rob me. Like what the hell? And then I thought, now as an adult away from that environment, I'm able to look back and reflect. Those people didn't have the money to feed themselves, right? They also didn't have the guidance. Like I said, our guidance counselors were not guiding or counseling. They were just floating around collecting a check. So you have these kids that are just lost, you know, on top of the fact that the environment that they're in breeds violence is the cool thing to do. Right. You know what I mean? Instead of asking for help or going out someplace, like go get a job. You don't want to get a job. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to go rob somebody. So I actually feel bad, you know, and I haven't done this in a little while, and I want to change this. I used to go to my high school and visit and just and talk, like kind of guide the kids and just tell them like, hey, this really, you don't have to do this. This isn't cool. You're hurting people. You're not the victim at this moment. You're the one that's doing it. So it feels cool, but then when you're the victim, you're the one being robbed, and you feel fear for your life. You wouldn't like that feeling. Don't do it to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those experiences definitely made me a stronger person. I appreciate what I have now. I can walk down the street without fearing getting robbed and mugged.
Yeah.
I still kind of have that fear when I go up to Jersey to visit because not much has changed.
Right.
I'm a lot bigger, so people are more hesitant to want to try to throw something at me, because it's going to come back harder. And that's why you got to teach me the jits, man. Get the booze down, man, so I can put them on headlocks,
Right.
Tie up in a pretzel, put them away. That's the goal, man. Peace and love. That's always the last resort. Always. You know what I mean? Always peace. But if you roll up on me again, I don't know if I'm going to be so trying to talk you out of it. But, yeah, man, hardship, man, it definitely, there are positives to hardship. So if anybody right now is going through a hardship, and everybody has their own reality, their own hardships, right? Some people, their hardship is trying to pay their mortgage, right? Some are trying to pay off their student debt. Some are just trying to maintain a 3.0, that's a hardship, sure. You know what I mean? Don't compare your hardships to other hardships, because then you'll start feeling like, you'll feel kind of dumb, and unless you're aware enough to understand we all have different realities, don't compare.
Mm-hmm.
Comparison is not really a good trait. I suffer from that. I've done that a lot, comparing like physiques, right? Like, no, I'm not big enough, but it even goes down to hardships, man. Don't try to compare your hardship to mine. We all have different hardships, yeah.
Yeah, because it's interesting. If you just as far as hardships go and in your own reality, like someone like you who was brought up having all these different hardships, if somebody has breezed by life, so to speak, and has really never had a hardship, and then all of a sudden they get their heart broken, to them that could be just as bad as being mugged and jumped. Right. So it really, don't judge people. Try not to judge people on their hardships.
Right.
And whatnot, and I think that's part of what the goal is with the Powerful One is being able to go into these places and tell people that there's other ways. That's literally the sole goal. Whether it's from an anti-bullying standpoint that we're going to do campaigns soon to get into schools, or just an empowerment standpoint. And I know people hear the kind of empowerment movement and think it's it's so cliche and whatnot. And this is different. It's deeper, and it comes from a place of passion and a place of just realness. It's not just a movement. There's no money scheme involved. It's literally just to help people too. So that's ultimately, I think, what's going to be huge is being able to go into places, whether it's schools, and being like, hey, look, there's another way.
Right.
There's another way to live.
Guide people, man. That's the key, man. Just be a good guide, man. People need that, man. And I don't again, I try to avoid words like need and have, but this is necessity, man.
It is.
Have proper guidance goes a long way, because again, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I was not guided, right?
Yeah.
I was working in Target my junior year of high school into senior year of high school, and I was just fine with that. And not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but at that moment, I was like, I'm just gonna try to be a manager here and just maybe be a firefighter. I don't know. I'm just staying here. I'm good, but I really wasn't good, right? I was living in an environment that was not conducive to who I really was as a person, so I didn't really get to see who I am until I left New Jersey, right? So I had a buddy who graduated before me, and he came back to guide. He's like, hey man, apply. Just apply. And I'm like, I'm not gonna accept me. He's like, dude, just apply. I'm like, I failed all these classes, I'm not a good student, just do it. Forced me, I applied, and I got a letter in the mail. Congratulations, you're accepted to Montclair University. And I'm crying, my mom's crying, my dad's crying, because nobody in my family went to college. You know what I mean? I was the first one. So I'm just like, oh wow, this is gonna happen. At that time I didn't know I was creating a reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was guided that direction. So I get there super scared, man, because again, I didn't read a book. You know what I mean? I was undeclared, didn't know what I want my major to be. I didn't even know I was gonna do this. This was the path kind of put my way. I'm glad I walked the path. I'm here today. I'm doing great, and so did it right. Struggled a bit because I was behind the curve. Education wise, my school wasn't the best, and then I made it, man. I stood afloat. I did the Air Force program, right? Commissioned as an officer, and I fell in love with books. fell in love with like government politics, history. Shout out to my
Oh,
history mug right here, man. This
The
is
greatest mug of all
King
time.
Henry VIII right here, with his like 6 wives, all of which were like beheaded or annulled or.
Got this at the coffee shop the other day, and it was for sure on display. It was not for sale, and Eddie's like, I have to have this.
Oh yeah,
and sure enough, he got it.
Yeah,
he created the reality.
I did.
He said he's gonna have it. He's gonna have it.
Exactly. So. I was like, I will pay $300. Cost $16. That's the investment.
But yeah, so I think like going back to what you just said, that all stemmed from somebody being a guide for you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how important networking and how important just positive relationships are it can be in someone's life.
Yes. That's a really good segue. It's like I can relate to these things right now, right? So I'm always like the happy person at work, right? You won't really find me having a bad day. And if I do have a bad day, I keep it to myself. And I'll meditate it out and get over it, right? That's just my tactic. Not saying that's the right way to be. Everybody finds their own path. But for me, I don't like to show my frustration or anger. Like I'll pick and choose who I'll talk to. Right? I have outlets. You should have an outlet. I have an outlet. My best friend, my mom, dad, whatever. I have an outlet. And so being at work, happy all the time. Making really good relationships. Like really talking to people, like getting to know what their weeks were like actually caring for others, right? And having that attitude, it made networking so much easier, right? So I'm in the transition of getting out the military. So I currently don't really have a job. I have some like prospects, things, interviews pending. But when I made the decision to get out the military, I was like, wow, what am I going to do now? And the second I started talking to people, like, yeah, I'm deciding to get out, I'm not sure. Oh man, I just had like an army of people like, oh, we're recommending you here, there. My bosses picked up their phones, called all their contacts, got a guy, resume went out there. I'm waiting for the bus to go to work one day, and one chick that I started working with a year ago, didn't know her, real cool with her, always saying, hey, how's your day going? How's your husband? How are the kids? I genuinely care. I want to know. And so she was like, you're getting out? I'll recommend you for a job with my company. I'm like, oh my. So it's like these things would bring me to tears when I go home because like you don't think about this, right? Like I was just going on my days not knowing what I was doing when I'm saying, how are you doing? I didn't see the effect that had to really genuinely care for others, and like that was reciprocated when I was in need. I had a need. My need was to get a job, get a career going, I don't know what I was gonna do, and look, I had an army of love.
That's
just
crazy.
That was all because I'm the positive person, man.
Exactly.
Creating realities, man.
Yeah, people want to lend a hand for people who are good, genuine people. That's crazy, and just simple stuff like how's your day going?
Yeah.
And that it almost seems like fate. Like it's so crazy that just like, wow, this happened for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, like the other day I went to sign up at Gold's Gym, and I engaged in conversation with the girl who was showing me around just a little bit.
Yeah.
Told her what I did and whatnot,
Yeah.
and then she did great. She sold me a membership, so she did her part.
But that was a girl that I was doing the arm day.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Arms were gigantic.
Yeah, your arms were huge.
Oh, it was so
Eddie's got big arms. And then she ended up. We just started talking. She said, "You guys hiring?" I was like, "Actually, we are." And I hired her. Literally, but one because I reached out to get to know her and to tell her a little bit about me, and then two, she asked if she took action on saying, "Are you guys hiring?" I think a lot of what you just said and what I'm saying is just taking a step in taking action of whether it's just saying something, being positive, just being more than just being there, just being, be present and that sort of thing. I think that's man. Just care. Yeah.
That goes. I'm spoiler alert. I'm an introvert. People are like, wait, what? No, yeah, I'm an introvert. And it's hard to grasp that concept because I'm talking to you right now. You'll see me out about. I'm a social introvert, so I like to socialize, but I don't enjoy large crowds. My social meter explodes at some point, and I'm just like, I need to recoup. So for those that are super introverted and not social, you're probably asking, how does one say, how are you? Because like they're unable to do that. I can relate to that.
Question.
Man.
Yes,
I have people like that I work with that are socially awkward or just don't like to talk, and so you might be sitting down like, how about me? How does that affect me? My advice to you is just to care, right? Like you don't need to go to people and say, how are you doing, right? It happens in conversation. If someone approaches you and asks you, how are you doing, right? Give them like a more than just a good, great. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a great day. Nice outside, had a cup of coffee. Like, I'm feeling awesome. How about you? And the conversation will just flow. if you just care enough, it will flow. It'll go there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
those that are just kind of wondering, like, how does that affect me? You can make it work too, being an antisocial introvert.
Yeah.
It's easier for the extroverts. So shout out to extroverts. You guys, y'all have it easier. You can just talk and run around, whatever. But those that have the opposites personality traits, you can make it work too.
Yeah. I was gonna say something on that note,
Yeah.
but lost my train of thought.
I have what we wanted to talk about too, man. I have like sticky notes everywhere, by the way, too. I'm always like, I'm nuts, but this can actually segue to routines and organization, man.
Ooh, that's the one thing I did want to talk about.
Mhm.
So whatever I had thought originally, and this is sometimes the price you pay by being an active listener. Sometimes you're gonna forget what you were gonna say,
Sure,
but it's
yeah.
worth it.
It is.
Listening's gonna pay off more in the long run.
It will, because conversations are rich. You
Exactly.
can participate. If you're thinking while someone's talking, you missed everything that they said.
Yeah.
They probably asked you a question, and, and you're gonna like not answer it, and they're like, "All right, this person just dismissed me."
Right.
So
yeah,
practice.
No, that's good. So Eddie and I recorded a part 2 of our basically our part 1 that you guys had maybe seen or maybe didn't see. If you didn't, go check it out. Quick plug, powerful one. And but so we basically recorded a part 2 that didn't get recorded. It was an awesome conversation, but part of it was just like kind of morning routines. So yeah, you wanna get into that a little bit?
Yeah.
None of that got recorded, so
Oh, that's rough. That was a good conversation.
it was a good conversation.
But yeah, morning routines. My morning routine. I keep myself on a schedule, right? Even if I'm on a vacation or whatever. Like, I like to wake up early. Not super early on. Like, if I'm on a vacation, I wake up at 8 a.m. or 8:30, right? And first thing I do, brush my teeth, drink a cup of water, and I put classical on. I like my classical in the background. It's very relaxing, pretty soothing. And I sit down in that thinking chair, and I just like turn it towards the window, and I just look out the window, and I just start to think. I let my mind, my thoughts just go. I did it for maybe about like a half hour, hour to an hour, depending on how much is on the mind. And let the thoughts run wild, organize them. You know what I mean? Keep myself grounded. And then I'll start my process, man. Like, getting the breakfast going. I like to get on my laptop, and I try to be as productive as possible and effective with my time. And with that comes effective time management, and that's a hard thing to practice too as well. Like using prioritizing, making like to-do lists, having a daily to-do list or weekly to-do list, keeping yourself on track. Trying not to fall into the bracket of always doing things that are important and urgent. So when your effective time management breaks down into 4 quadrants, and the first quadrant are activities that are important and urgent. If you live in that quadrant, you're going to burn out and be stressed. Because when you wake up with a sense of urgency, because I gotta do this important task, you're constantly running around. You don't have time to just think. You don't have time to breathe. You don't have time to enjoy yourself or to do things that yield results.
Right.
You're just kind of like you're putting out fires.
Yeah, you're kind of reactive right off the bat, and that's gonna transition into the rest of the day.
Very, and that's your
Yeah.
first quadrant, right? The second quadrant is where we want to be. It's the most effective time management quadrant because there you fall under activities that are not urgent but are important. And that's great because important activities would be something like reading a book, right? Like that's pretty important. It's not urgent. I don't have to do it right now. You know what I mean? It's not something that's pressing. It's not a crisis. It's not life threatening, right? I can just read whenever. But it's important because it will yield results, knowledge. You know what I mean? I can spread knowledge of what I've read. Developing a mission statement. You know what I mean? Guiding your thoughts, writing down what your values are, like self-reflecting, meditation, exercising, the gym. That's part of the routine. Like all that's important, but none of that's urgent. Then you have like your third and fourth quadrants, which aren't really effective either. So the third quadrant would be something that's like urgent but not important. So like a phone call is urgent, right? Like we're all prone to when your phone rings, you pick it up.
Yeah.
Give me a second. You know what I mean? Like, it's urgent. Whether the nature of the conversation isn't important, it's still urgent.
Yeah.
It's a call. You know what I mean? It's something that's happening right now. That's what makes it urgent. You take care of it. So that's ineffective time management if you're stuck in that quadrant because like you're just jumping around to urgent things. Like, oh, email, gotta check the email. Oh, gotta answer that text. Oh, gotta answer that call. It's like, but you're not doing anything productive with your time. And then the fourth quadrant, the last one, it's tasks that are not important and not urgent, like binge watching Netflix. Listen, I'm a huge binge watcher. Shout out to Netflix, we're gonna get some sponsorship here. But
and turn that later.
and they're not. But I'm sorry everyone, but unfortunately that is ineffective time management. If you sit down and spend 12 hours, and I'm guilty, man. I've seen a whole series of shows, 12 hours straight, literally pause to eat, get right back and continue watching. Game of Thrones, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. But when you look back at it, it's not effective time management, because with those 12 hours that you spent sitting down watching a fairy tale, what did you get out of that besides of some entertainment? Nothing. There's nothing I could do with that, you know what I mean? I didn't learn how to wield a sword. You know what I mean? Like, and even if I did learn that, like, what can I do with that? You know, so you don't get much out of that. Video game play, I'm a huge gamer. But these things, and I'm not saying don't do these things. What I'm saying is when you want to manage your time effectively, keep that to a minimum. You know, like, I'm still going to play my Xbox. I play for an hour. And I have shows that I like to watch. I try to make them, like, you know, like historical dramas. You know, like, I get some knowledge out of it. But, I mean, if I'm going to watch Game of Thrones, I'll throw an episode or two in there. You know what I mean? Like, manage your time well. Don't have that be the bulk of your time, because you are also going to end up unhappy, because it's like you're going to end up telling yourself, I never have enough time to do anything. Why? Let me see your schedule. And say, 12 hours of binge watching. Okay. That's why, you know what I mean? So it's like you got to effectively manage your time. So stay in quadrant 2 with tasks that are not urgent, because you're able to think when you don't have a sense of urgency, and that they're important. They're important because they yield results. You can get something out of it. So I make a
I was gonna say, to-do list. Okay.
I have a to-do list right here, and I prioritize my to-do list, right? So my to-do list was check on my leave status for work, you know, call my uncle's friend for some connection networking for jobs,
Right.
Go to the gym, read, put clothes away, and prep for an interview that I have tomorrow. And I prioritize that. What's number one that I want to get done first, you know? So I wanted to get done, check the leave status thing first. That was that's kind of urgent, you know what I mean? Because, like, if I don't have that, I'm going to work tomorrow. You know, so like that was urgent.
Yeah.
And so that was a quadrant 1 task. That was urgent. That was important. Got it out the way. I didn't spend my whole day on that. It's quick. And now my first 3 things are all urgent, important tasks. Once I get those out of the way, I can go to quadrant 2 on non-urgent, important things like the gym.
Yeah.
It's not urgent, but it's important. You know, putting clothes away. It's not urgent, but it's important for my own mental health, because I see clothes on the floor, I lose my mind. Right. You know what I mean? So. But if you notice, none of these things here are time wasters. Like, I don't have watch TV. You know, like my lowest priority thing is to read, but it's still something that's not a time waster. I'm gonna get something out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have that's the daily to-do list, and I have not done my weekly one yet. But you also want a weekly one, and with the weekly one comes goals, and you set goals for what you want to get done in a week. So for you, it'd be great for you where you have a goal of doing 1 podcast a week.
Right.
You know, that's what you got to get done. Make your daily to-do list, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever it is, right? Monday might not have anything to do with podcasting, but you know in the back of your mind it's going to get done at some point. So you incorporate that in there eventually, you know what I mean? So you want to have a weekly to-do list. Leave space for spontaneity. You want to be spontaneous as well, right? Because that's healthy. You know, if you're just very regiment and like every hour on the hour you have something planned, that's not healthy or effective, because things pop up.
Oh man, it's impossible. Try to plan out your day by the hour, and I will give you all the money in my bank account if it goes the exact way you plan.
It's a lot of money. But it's like, you know, this right here was not planned on my to-do list. But this is very important. And I have time for it. I have blocks open. This is not an issue. You know what I mean?
Non-issue.
You know? So it's like spontaneous things like this happen. You know what I mean? Yeah, I kind of had the idea that we were going to get together because we texted yesterday. Right. So I kept a gap open. So I got my urgent, important things out of the way. And it's so nice because I'm focused on this. If I didn't get the urgent things out the way, it'd be in the back of my mind.
Exactly.
That's ineffective time management, because now I'm not living in the now. I'm too busy thinking about what I need to get done, but I'm not, because I already did it. Effective time management.
So that's the biggest thing the morning routine's done for you is time management?
So the time management is just overall a very important thing to do. Okay. And within my daily routine, it's only possible with effective time management.
Gotcha.
If you can't manage your time effectively, you won't have a daily routine.
Gotcha.
Your routine will be chaos.
Right.
My first thing in the morning is to check my phone, and that's urgent, chaotic activities.
Right.
I love what you do. You don't touch your phone when you wake up.
Right.
You're not distracted. You go to your backyard, you can actually sit down and think and relax. You're doing things that are not urgent, but you're doing things that are important. You're meditating. You yield results with your meditation. You're able to think like, I want to discuss this on my podcast. I need to do this investment so I can have the. You're doing the right things. You're effectively managing your time. People that wake up and grab their phone immediately and they see all notifications, you're being directed now. You're not directing your time. Time is directing you. You know what I mean? Like you have this like cloud over you. It's like you gotta get this done. Gotta get, and that's just saying the word like I have to do this, have to do this. Then you end up not being happy because you don't want to have to do anything.
Yeah, but if you that's been a big one for me. If you immediately just check your phone, all of a sudden you're just reactive. You're reacting off to all the stuff you see, all the emails you have to respond to, all the texts.
Yep.
You know, plus I feel like I'm the best thinker in the morning. Like I'm cognitive in the morning. I'm focused. If I can sit down, meditate, clear my head a little bit, get mindful, I can have direction for where my day's gonna go, and I don't have to be reactive. I can be proactive. I can figure out what tasks I'm gonna do that day.
Yeah.
And try to get out of that reactive mindset.
Yeah. I think studies show like first thing in the morning your brain is most like effective.
Exactly, and if you're a caffeine junkie like we are, it just amplifies that.
Or you want a protein shake? I'm a protein shake.
Yeah, let's get a protein shake.
You want a protein shake?
Yeah, let's say.
Making 2 shakes.
Quick break.
I hope I have blender bottles, man.
We'll let the Ryu sponsor ad play while we're taking a break.
Bro, we might. It's hard to be this pretty. Right. So the company that you're starting up is Powerful One, right? I remember I'm trying to find a good like one-liner quote, you know?
Yeah, trying to find like a catch.
Had a conversation with my best friend, who's gonna be in this podcast one day. Y'all gonna meet him.
Oh yeah.
He's the man.
The guru.
With the plan. My guru. He'll say he's not your guru, but he is. So my buddy Marino and I were discussing and just I forgot what the topic was, and we was going these tangents where we talk about like just great things, and Power came up. And he was like, "Hey man," he got this quote from Tom Bilyeu. He was like, "Power is the ability to make your vision a reality." Just amazing and like powerful.
Yeah. Say it one more time.
So power is the ability to make your vision a reality. And the faster you can make that vision a reality, the more powerful you are. And I would like to take the negatives out of the word power. So people hear power like, oh, they think of greed, they think of like, you know, Wall Street snobs that are like running the world, you know, or politicians, they all have this power. Cut all that out. We're talking beyond that right now. Those people are powerful because they had a vision and they made it a reality. That's the essence of power. So like someone wants to become president and have the most powerful job in the country, that's a vision. I have a vision of being president one day. I become president, I'm powerful. My vision became reality, right? So sure, people might do bad with their power, right? But it doesn't take away from the essence here, is that when you make your vision a reality, you are powerful. And it's great stuff because me and my buddy were talking about this, and it's like, I'm weak. Tommy, I'm weak because my visions are not reality yet. So I'm not powerful. I want to be powerful. Powerful is not a bad thing. Having power is not bad. And if you want to be powerful, you want to do good with your power, right? Like you have a vision. Your vision is to help others, and you're making a reality with this podcast and your company. You are more powerful than I am, my friend, because your reality is happening. Your vision is coming true. I'm still working on mine, but you're there, bro. You're powerful. So you are perfect as the CEO of Powerful One because you are powerful, man.
That's a lot.
It's great stuff.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's close out on one note. So I want to have it be like a consistent thing with the podcast is to take value in the conversation we had today and just pick one thing that you took away from this podcast that you're going to strive to value in your life, that you're going to put to practice, essentially. And if you need some time to think about it, I can go. But
I'll let you go.
Okay. I'm gonna say that my the anger, being able to make my anger mobilize me. Basically, whatever emotion that I'm feeling, whether you think it's an inherently negative emotion, which it's not, no emotions I believe are, using that emotion, for me it's going to be my anger and pretty much anger and sadness to mobilize me and be able to use it in a productive way.
Find out.
That's going to be mine because it's something that I haven't had too much clarity on until very recently, and I haven't been able to put it to practice yet. So that's going to be mine.
Definitely want to practice that same thing too. I'm copycat. I love that. But a spiel that I went on with effective time management to practice. I'm still trying to like work on. And right now I'm really just doing daily to-do lists. I don't have my weeklies yet, 'cause I don't have weekly goals. I don't have goals. I need to reassess my goals. I've had goals, and with the career change that I've been making, my goals have just been wiped. They're different now. You know, I had whatever, I'm going through a change, so I want to go set some goals, get a weekly to-do list going on, and kind of just organize my time and continue to be effective with it. You know, like right now, like when you leave, like it's going to be really hard for me to not take a nap.
Right.
I want to take a nap. I'm a little sleepy, but it's not going to be effective for me right now because there are other things that I want to get done. And if I take this nap, it's going to get into the way of things that are higher priority than a nap.
Boom. Remind me when we finish the podcast to show you my Evernote, just my weekly tasks, my yearly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals, and then my daily progress.
Nice.
I'll show you that and get some ideas. And then if you're listening or watching on YouTube, whatever platform, just take some value from today and it's like anything. It's like jiu-jitsu, especially like you know, we talk a lot about with some of the new guys who are coming into the academy. We talk about if they come to a seminar or a class and they're learning all these different things. Take one thing. You know, a lot of times it's going to be hard to take the value in everything that we say. So take one or two things and pick one thing that you're going to put into practice in your life. So
100%.
That's all we got for you guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Powerful One Podcast out.
Out. No, bro.
Perfection.